He keeps going.
Give me a sign.
This is how we're opening the episode.
Yeah, just me singing. Say
Yeah.
something wide open, wondering. Yes, hello.
Will McGuirk, thank you
Hello.
for doing this today.
You're very welcome, man. Yeah. Why are you looking that way? I'm over here.
You know, it's
Yeah.
always a funny thing. Do you want to look at the mic, the camera, or
Yeah,
the
look at the person,
Yeah,
man. Don't look at the mic.
It depends.
We don't even know that the mic is on. We don't even know it's here. We're just hanging out, chatting here
Yeah.
in. Are we live? We're here in Kops Records in beautiful sunny downtown Oshawa, Rock City, 34 King Street East, Oshawa. Yeah, Ontario, Canada.
You know, this is funny because yesterday I was talking to some people about like, hey, I'm having Will on the show. Like, what should I ask him about? And everyone said, oh, just let him rip.
Don't ask him any fucking
Yeah,
questions.
he has plenty to say for himself.
I always got plenty to say for myself, man. Yeah, I was a very quiet child, and then when I found my voice, I haven't shut up.
He's making up for lost time.
I totally am, man. Yeah, I came here in '84. I didn't speak to anybody for the first year.
Okay.
Like till 85, 86 or something like that. Like seriously, I didn't fucking talk to a damn. It was like the strangest thing being in this country. And I didn't know anybody. Didn't talk to anybody. Anybody I didn't like. So I didn't talk to them either. And then randomly it just it's interesting is sometimes you might be the same way, man. Sometimes these things help. You might think they'd be the opposite. But John Stewart, when I was working at Oshawa This Week newspaper for a bit, gave me the opportunity to write for the paper, even though I'd never written anything in my life. But he said I was a good storyteller, and John just sort of passed on. Unfortunately, he was a good guy, and anyway, then it gave me something to write in a sort of like a format that I could like be comfortable in and articulate and talk and speak and and sort of like express myself in, and then people could like tune in, listen, whatever, read it, whatever if they wanted to, and if they didn't, that was okay. I was still it got me into the habit of like speaking out, speaking out outside of myself and not necessarily to anybody. So I still do that. I still just ramble. And I don't really give a shit if anybody's listening or not.
Well,
but obviously everybody should listen to this because like it's good. So
doing my best with it.
You're doing good. Okay, so who are you?
Who am I?
And why are you in my shop?
My name is Steve. For some reason, I started this podcast.
It's not my shop, by the way. It is the couple's shop. I always say my shop because I feel a real ownership of it. In the same way as I feel ownership about Oshawa and my city, even though it's fucking not. Well, anyway, so okay.
But
Stephen,
seeing as your shop is maybe coming to an end in the near future,
it might be. We're just moving. We're not ending. Nothing's ending. It's just moving.
Yeah.
But
no, I thought it was a good opportunity to come sit down and just have a chat with you, right?
Yeah.
You're the guy who has the most to say about Oshawa, I think.
Well, it probably says the most.
Says the most.
I think other people should speak up a little bit more about things and get their head out of the sand and really kind of look up and see what exactly is happening to this city. But that's the other thing. What are these mics called? What are they? RODE? Road mics? Okay, interesting. Yeah, that's cool. That's a good name.
Yeah.
Road mics. Okay, so Stephen, who are you and why are you here? What's going on? You're starting this cast, but you didn't start off as a podcaster. Did you go to school for it?
Yeah, well, I went to school for engineering, actually, at Ontario Tech.
Okay.
UOIT when I was there. Graduated right at the beginning end of COVID. So finding a job in the automotive industry at that point in time was not going to work out for me very well. But luckily, my dad had actually had this company that he was doing that it was called Storage Power Solutions. They did like industrial battery backups for like large factories and stuff.
Yeah.
So I was lucky enough to be doing mechanical design there for about 2 years. And then it was just really not doing it for me. Just the kind of work environment that was there, I didn't enjoy it very much. I needed to get out. Got into a little spat with my employer. That's always great.
Isn't your dad's company?
Well, it was his partner in the company that I had. Because I worked under this other guy who was equal partners with my father in this.
Yeah.
And then whenever they were kind of butting heads with each other, it felt like it was trickling down to me. So anyways, after about 2 years as a professional engineer, I got out of that and I was just kind of looking for something to do for a long time. And I was trying to do like playing music for a while. I'm also a musician. But that didn't really work out either. And then I found... Not yet. Maybe one day. Still time.
You're a musician as long as you play music.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But, so eventually I ended up buying a camera with a tax return that I got. Just wanted to try one out. And it just kind of sucked me in. And that's been sort of my main thing for now the last 2 years.
Because I've seen you floating around here for the last few years, and we've been here 3 years, so probably around about that.
That's around when I moved here.
Yeah, and where did you move from?
Well, I moved from North Oshawa 3 years ago. 10 years ago, I moved here from Georgetown to go to university.
Oh, Georgetown! I like Georgetown. Yeah, it was it's a GO station, isn't it? You just get the train out there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that was how I first kind of came to Oshawa, was taking the GO train this way from my mom's house back then.
There was Georgetown. So then you came here, so you're up in the north end, but then do you live down here? You got an apartment? Because you're always out.
Yeah, I'm in 70 King right now.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, sweet. So what floor?
I'm not giving out my address on the air.
Well, I'm just curious. Like, I don't mean like what floor. I'm like, if you're on the top floor, because like the views, all depending on where you are.
Yeah, you're right.
Would be spectacular.
No, I'm right across from Smoke's Poutineery on the 4th floor of the building.
Oh, so you're looking out onto King Street.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not too bad.
You know what? It is a good view.
Is it a rental place or is it?
Yeah, I'm on rent right now.
Is it all rental? I think it's all rental. I think so. Isn't it?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, it's it's good. Yeah, Richard's did a good job. I haven't been around, but as we were recording this, it is April 23rd, and I believe May 2nd or 3rd is Doors Open Oshawa, and 70 King is part of it. So if anybody hears this before then, you can actually go in. I intend to go in and wander around the inside of that building, because I haven't for a very long time. I want to see what he's done inside and upstairs.
What's the date on that, you said?
It's May 2nd or 3rd.
Oh, okay.
It's a Saturday, and probably a Sunday, so Saturday, Sunday. Could be 3rd and 4th, I don't know. But it's beginning of May. And then the doors open. That's kind of like when a whole bunch of like institutions and places around here open up. They're free to the public.
Yeah.
I think the Biltmore's on that list. The churches, St. George's, it's always an opportunity. It's great, man. And I used to take my kids to the doors open in Toronto all the time, and we used to go to like mosques and Sikh temples and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
Because when would you get a chance to go in, man?
Right.
So it was it was great. It's super educational. I love it. But I really want to check out what's going on there. Unfortunately, the downstairs, the food court thing, just because of the way things are happening in Oshawa, some of those businesses have either closed up or are thinking about closing up and not necessarily renewing their lease, which is sad to see them go, because they're really good people and they've really contributed to the downtown and the atmosphere down here. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things, Stephen.
Well, rest in peace to Gabe and Pontius, right?
He's not dead, man.
No, he's still he's around more than ever now, I think, because he doesn't have to run the store.
That's what he said. He said he'd have more free time, and I'm like, you never fucking did that when I went in to see you. You're always sitting around doing that and making reels. He's always making reels. But I think that's one of the things, and I would say about you floating around and being part of it, even your photography that you do for like concerts and this podcast that you've started, and also the musician side of it. There's a strange sort of like engaging community that's kind of beginning to grow down here, and it's a lot of sort of younger folks. The older folks around here are all kind of like, I don't know, a little bit busybody.
They're tired.
They're busybody, and that's right. They're tired, right? And they're not really making the same sort of contributions or efforts as they used to. But that's okay. That's okay. Like you say, they're tired, and it's time for them to. They kind of feel like they're moving. So, but what I'm saying is that even though if you're driving through and the place looks like shit and it's empty and boarded up buildings and empty stores, and this one will be empty at some point unless landlord gets somebody in super quickly, and you'll just see the empty streets and the empty sidewalks. And yes, there's an awful lot of like folks some people might think are unsavory, but they're really just people who just have some issues. It's relatively safe, although everything is relatively safe until it's not, so you've always got to be careful about that. Everybody's always got to have their radar on. But its reputation, it doesn't live up to its reputation.
No, I mean, I think all of the issues Oshawa has are issues that every other city in Canada is going to have.
Yes, it's just
every other city in the world, really.
Everybody does, and this is what I'm saying. We just don't have any good stuff. That's the problem. We don't have any good stuff to deflect from it. But what I've begun to see in like the last year, and that's what I'm saying, Stephen, even you just being here, but it's not like you're coming in and, you see, I do have a lot to say. So when I come in, like you're not coming in and just in your apartment and just hiding there. You know what I mean? Like you're out and engaging with the community. And I think your post-COVID sort of generation are eager for connections of any kind, So you've had a lot of people on your podcast already, but there are people like Ivy and Connor, and people can go back through your archives for those folks. And there's a lot of sort of younger folks who are moving in. Aaron, who's over at Blackheart Collectives, opened up sort of like a punk rock flea market, an actual building, like a business there, which is great because that's quite successful over conversion.
Yeah, well, it was a successful event that was being done, and then now there's a permanent version of that.
That's right.
Which I think is really great.
It is great, yeah, and it is kind of pop up, and it's not a punk rock because I think that might be like
I think it's trademarked.
Yeah, somebody's, but it's stuff that's kind of like punk rock related shit. And there's a lot of sort of like younger people kind of opening up sort of businesses, and so you got like Johnny Cuts, which is great. You got like the comic stores, there's other record stores downtown, and there's younger people moving in and opening up their restaurants. And even though some of them mightn't be doing as well as we'd want, there does seem to be this, like Diane's over to Biltmore, she's Oshawa, and then Nick and his family over at Bond Street. There are people who are still here and still investing in the downtown, and it's younger people, so it's not this is my thing, right? It's not other people who are older who are coming in and seeing business opportunities where they can just extract and fuck off, which is what we've had for a very long time here, right? We've had an American company that has come in, scrape through everything they can out of Oshawa, and then fucked off anytime they want to, and then everybody throws money at them to stay, and every time they decide to either like shut down or close up or move on or whatever, and yeah, we know that this place wouldn't exist without it, so it is good. But there's still a lot of people who've been left behind, and I think that's one of those things where there's a lot of people left behind. There's a lot of sort of social issue problems, a lot of that sort of stuff going on. Of course there is, and again, lots of places that have it, but it only ever seems to be that. So there is kind of that, like it's like depressing, man. Like it can be super, super depressing to be living here. And yet the energy that I get and what keeps me somewhat optimistic is when young people, come into the store and talk about bands they're starting up, or businesses that they're starting up, or podcasts that they're starting up, or businesses like what I say with Dan, taking that over. Or even Richard, who's from Oshawa and investing in 70 King, and Will Balfour, who's over at Tributes, doing the great stuff over there. Like there's a lot of like Oshawa people who are investing back in Oshawa, and I think that's that in and of itself is a really, really good thing. My sense of sort of like people say like I might be bitching and cranky about stuff is what I don't see is that I don't see the city on a council or economic level, right, investing in those people who are already here, who are already ready and willing to make the investment, who want to be here, who want to stay here, who have committed themselves to the city. What I see them doing is chasing more white elephants, and big friggin' whales, and some American company to come in and rescue us all,
Exactly.
Where I'm like, have you actually taken, and I'm not saying it's good or bad either way, because we do have the history of it being good. But General Motors came in here because Colonel Sam was a young kid who had already done all the work in this fucking place in the start off. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So great, So I think there are lots and lots and lots of Colonel Sams floating around this town, and our city should just do a better, give these kids more opportunity to be out and about and support them in their endeavors. And unfortunately, they all think that, just because you want to be a musician or you want to be like an artist or you want to be a photographer or something like that, it's like they're not real jobs. Well, I'm sorry, right? You're going to find out very soon, that they
It's
are
the only
actually
jobs that aren't
going to
be automated away by AI.
They are going to be the jobs, right? You are going to need those people. You are going to need your own kids, right? You're going to want to keep your own kids, and invest in these people because you will want creativity and imagination to help us out of this fucking mess that the boomers have left for us all. Shout out boomers, love them all. Anyway, but you know what I'm saying? Like there's so many cool, great kids that I see coming in here. And it's a great sort of privilege, a great position to be in, to be in a record store for the last little while and be a chitty chatty motherfucker like I am, and I talk to kids, and I'd much rather talk to kids. They're great, right? And they're optimistic, man, and they're enthusiastic,
right? And
they see it, but it doesn't put them down. They still want to fight it,
Yeah.
And I think that's something.
What choice do they have? Just lie down and give up?
Well,
you have to.
I don't even think
you can either do nothing or do something.
Well,
do something, right?
I just don't see that that's a decision even for those kids, man.
Yeah.
They're ready to make their own future, which is, they're a bit. What is it, 1970? So that's 30, 50. 50 years after punk. Well, 40 years after punk. 45. But it's finally catching up to Oshawa, and the kids here are being completely totally punk rock. They see that there is no future, and they I think the ones I talk to are demonstrating that they're going to make their own future, out of whatever stuff is left behind, So yeah, even though it may seem like I come across as being like super down and super cranky,
no, I think you're identifying the problems that need to be addressed.
Eternally optimistic, man, about the young people. And if we could just I've said it for 40 years, I'm a broken record, he said, sitting in a record shop. It's just give them opportunities, man. What's the worst that could happen? Your kids will have a good time for a day and maybe go get it out of the system and then go work for GM or whatever artificial intelligence freaking data center you're going to build.
Yeah.
Oh my God, man. It's so disappointing. It really is. It's just so disappointing for to see these kids with all of their talent and enthusiasm and willingness to do the work and no fucking opportunities for them.
And I think there's just a disconnect between the people that are on the city council who have the ability to make these changes,
Mm-hmm.
but they're just not seeing where they need to invest in the community, right?
First and foremost, you don't very rarely see them out in the community. Although they're out in the community all the time, I get it. Or also have a ward system, so they have their own thing that they have to take care of. That's perfectly fine too. And there's a couple of councillors who are in charge, I guess, of the ward that the downtown is in. But to me, that's not a ward situation. This is the heritage and history. This is the core. This is where the city started.
Yeah.
This should not necessarily be offloaded onto the responsibility of just two councillors to say, well, these are the ones that we put in charge of it. Yeah. It's no, man. It's everybody who's running this city, all the staff, great staff too, lovely people, no problem with whatsoever. But I do think that you are right that there's a disconnect, in the conversation. There's always a disconnect in the conversation. Murals?
Murals? Another outdoor stage?
How did that fucking blow up? Another outdoor stage. How did that fucking blow up? These things should be just rubber stamped. Everybody else does them. It's not like you have to reinvent it. It's just look around and pay attention. So yeah, I think there's a lot of stuff that's got to be cleared out. But here's my ultimate point.
Oh, he's wagging the finger now.
My ultimate point, right? Did you get that on camera? Well, my ultimate point. My ultimate point is that we are still in a position where pretty well on any given night in downtown Oshawa, if everything's kicking off, and I've said it many, many times, but if everything's kicking off at the same time, you can have probably 10,000 people in the downtown. 10,000 people, right? If there's a shows at the Tribute, Bond Street, over at the Regent, and at the Biltmore, plus all the other little bits and smaller places that are coming in and bringing in people, there is, if you add up all the capacity of all of these venues and stuff, right? You are looking at possibly, 8,000 to 10,000 people who could be down here at any one time.
Right. Well, and that's the thing is every time the Tribute does a big show, all of the other businesses say, oh, that was my best business day of the week, of the month.
Yeah, for sure. It is. Right? Well, first of all, you shouldn't have a business plan that's based on somebody else's business plan.
Yes.
You should be able to figure that stuff out for yourself. But what I'm saying is okay, if I had my house that was built where I was potentially going to have 10,000 people show up at any time, right? like, wouldn't you be ready for them?
Right.
Wouldn't you have parking available for them? Wouldn't you clear your streets of the snow? You know, wouldn't you make everything more accessible? Like, if you're inviting 10,000 people down into your, like on any given night, because nobody's coordinating this stuff and saying, oh, I'm not going to book out in Bond Street because somebody's got something over Bill Street, or I'm going to cancel this Generals game because the region's got something. No, everybody's operating independent. So yeah, on any given night in this downtown town, you could have 10,000 people fucking show up, right? And what are they going to do? They're going to look around and they're going to see the ugliness of it. They're going to see like the empty buildings. They're going to see the businesses shut down. They're going to see businesses boarded up. Yeah, they're going to see people shooting up on the street. Right? Yeah, they're going to see people pissing and shitting because we've all seen it, you know? And that's 10,000 people that you are actively courting to come downtown Oshawa.
And you'll say thank you when they're leaving by giving them a parking ticket.
And you'll say thank you for giving them a parking ticket. But you know what I mean? I'm more about like there's 10,000 people. Yes,
right.
sir. We're closed. Closed, brother. But thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah. Thank you very much for coming in. We should maybe think about staying open later. But again, for what? There's nobody downtown. But we could if those 10,000 people were coming in.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the problem is that we don't have regularly 10,000 people coming in.
Right.
So nobody's building for it. Right.
Well, and that's the thing is like either I feel like Oshawa goes.
I thought I was talking.
Oh, I'm
okay,
so
go
sorry.
ahead, Stephen.
No,
you do some
I feel
talking
like
for a bit.
Oshawa's either always in like a growing phase or a shrinking phase, and you feel it when it changes from one to the other, kind of around here, right?
Yeah, man. There's always the thing. I think I would say that it's actually the same. It's just whether you've got a positive spin on it or a negative spin on it.
Maybe.
You know?
Hey, it might just be my attitude.
Yeah,
honestly.
I mean, it is growing. There's like I don't know what the population is, but 120,000 or something like this, or maybe even more. Like all the houses going in up in the north end. You know, the roads up there are just like it's madness trying to get around.
Right.
And then obviously, we've got schools that have to be built. And all sorts of things that have to come in. It's difficult. You put a pause on parks and schools, but you'll give yes to a Costco. Whatever. So that kind of tells me where your priorities are. But there is a lot of people, and that's going to change the city. And it's going to change how things work. But let's just say everybody up who's moved into the north end decided all at once to just kind of come downtown. Yeah. Like they're not like you're not ready for it.
Oh yeah.
You're not ready for it.
Well, and that's what happens when you have like a Cars on King or Convergence and that many people does show up down here. Not even that many, but like maybe 2,000 people will show up.
Yeah, man, for sure.
And still the city breaks. Yeah. Right? If you want to get food, you're going to be waiting half an hour in lines kind of thing. Like,
for sure. Yeah.
And just to the people who live here,
you're not ready.
It's usually really comfortable to live around here, but then when you do get a crowd coming in, it falls apart, I think.
I think this is the thing about the city, is that the city leans into, we will take the overflow and deal with the overflow. When we have to, but we're not going to prepare for the overflow. We're going to work, like any business around here is going to be like, my business is probably going to get like 20 people in. I'll have enough cakes and biscuits and coffee for 20 people, So yeah, when Cars and Kings, the one event that we have downtown, or Convergence, the one event that we have in the fall, when 20,000 people or whatever it is show up, it's like, yeah, it's lineup, right? Or those businesses close. Perfectly fine. Because they're like, I can't deal with this, But at what point do people go, you know what? The city is advertising. The city's got like Downtown Oshawa, it's got Oshawa Tourism, it's got its own communications, and they're all like, the whole thing is come downtown, come downtown, come downtown. Okay, well, you're inviting people downtown, you're inviting people over to your house, and then all of a sudden all these people you invited to the party show up, and you're like, oh shit, I don't have enough coffee and cake and bread and stuff like that for everybody to show up. I wasn't expecting you all to come down.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you've invited them all. So at any point, you could have 10,000 people down here, and what's going to happen? You don't cater to them, you're going to have 10,000 disappointed people who are not going to fucking come back.
Yeah.
That's the thing that I'm like, what is the problem with that? What is this? Why can't you do this? Like expand and shrink, like you say. Be ready, know what's going on. Who's doing what and when, right? And you're like, as a city, is like, from one-way streets is ridiculous, but anyway, that's fine.
I like them.
No, there's literally nothing to like about it, man. They are the worst idea in the entire world, right? Any economic, like, urban developer will tell you that's the worst fucking thing, right? Those things are a hangover from GM when everybody was going in one direction at the same time and everybody was going in the other direction at the other time. You know what I mean? That's what it was. Anyway, whatever. It's time to get rid of it, but they won't, right? Because it'll be Ivy, Rose, and Connor who'll get that sorted.
Oh yeah, Ivy Rose is on the one-way streets now.
I don't know if she is or not. I'm just saying, young people will sort all these things out. Yeah. Anyway, what questions did you have for me?
What questions did I have for
Yeah.
you? I mean, like I said, I was just told to let you rip here.
Yeah, but it's the same stuff, man. You know, like, it's just the same stuff. And again, I'm too old for this shit, and I'm out. This shop is gone, so I'm figure out what I'm going to do. You know, I don't know whether I'm going to continue to invest in this city. Love it. It's been really good to me. It's invested in me. I'm very happy to be here. You know, I am from somewhere else, and the city I've adopted has, in a manner, adopted me back. I've gotten medals and awards, you know, which is great. And I'm very grateful, and I've got like a life, and I've got a job, and I've got money, and I've got kids, and I've got a wife, and all a house, all that sort of stuff in Oshawa. You know, this is why seriously, it's just disappointing me. It hurts me in a manner when I see, like, it just falling apart, man. And like I say, the young people are all in about building it. They'll do the fucking work, man. They'll build it, you know. But it's just like, all the old people in this town are just like so ready to just move on, you know. And it's just like it's sad, man. It's disappointing. It really is when you look out and you're looking at, like, you know, places that didn't even replace their sign when it kind of got rotted a little bit. And, like, nobody's doing the work, man. The buildings, there was a lot of money put into these buildings. There was a fund, I believe, where you could, like, get the city to pay for a little bit of your facade cleaning and painting and stuff like that. And nobody fucking takes advantage of it, man. It's just, you know, it's the dirty schwa. That's what they call it, man. You know why they call it the dirty schwa?
I don't know how it started, no, actually.
Well, because it's an industrial town, man. It used to be called the Manchester of North America, and there was tons of work here, and there was tons of factories here, right? And work is dirty. Manual labor is dirty, right? And there's all sort of residue and grease and oil and everything left over the place. So it was dirty, right? And now, of course, people use it as a bit of a slag. It's like, the dirty schwa. I'm like, no, man, I'll take the dirt. You know, I'll take the dirt. I got dirty nails because I work for a living, you know? Motherfucker.
I like that.
Yeah. That's just the reality of it, you know. But right now, you know, the city, in the downtown, obviously, the rest of the city is perfectly fine. People like lovely when you got ownership and lovely streets and lovely neighborhoods, and you know, it's nice to drive through and see it. There's a lot of really great, cool places, and the lake is awesome. And, like, there's a lot of stuff in this town, but we're just talking about the downtown because we're here, you know. And again, this is nothing to do with my shop moving or my job or any of that sort of stuff. It's just like I look out and I just see the 40 years that I've been here, and it, you know, it's right across the Western world, but it's like, it's real. It's just tired, man. You know, it's just really tired. Like you say, the rumors, like, older people have sort of given up, haven't they? You know, it's tired, man. Nobody's painting, nobody's cleaning up. You know, the planter pots aren't even filled. You know, like, they're not. We got these pink ice cream fucking things that somebody came up with, you know, which is just ridiculous. And they fill them up, and obviously the gardening staff around here is amazing. They do great work, great designers. You know, they've won awards. So that stuff is all good. But then you have all these other random things that for some reason they don't feel responsible for. Maybe they're not responsible for the money. Like, the roundy ones aren't being filled. Like, why do you have these things and then not fill them? Like,
I think they're just overly dividing up their tasks among themselves.
Why don't you just fucking get rid of them if you're not going to fill them up all on the same night? You know, I mean, don't even get me started about that planter box that's out in front of my store along King Street. They widened the sidewalk, right?
That was another brilliant use of money.
Well, you know, I don't mind the wide sidewalk. I think you should
widen
them right
but,
across
like, then
to the other
no
side.
one really got permitted to actually build patios like they were supposed to.
No, nobody.
I mean, I guess you're the only one that took advantage of it. You were doing shows out here, right?
You know, I was just waiting for bylaw to show up, and then, you know, fuck it, you know.
Wait, you got no permission to do that?
No, man. Why would I?
Noted. Okay, I guess you can get away with it.
Well, I'm not saying you could. I'm just saying we did. You know, but, you know, maybe people aren't floating around after 5 o'clock on a long weekend in the summer. You know, maybe people have got other things to do than, you know, come down and see what's happening downtown Oshawa and see what the kids are building out on their street. You know, And or they could be just busy up in the north end with bylaws, but they can't be everywhere all at once, man. So
No?
anyway, I don't know. I mean, you can busk. There's no bylaw against busking,
Right.
you know, and there are bylaws against sort of vending, I believe, but we weren't vending anything.
No.
Mostly we were just sitting outside, having a bit of fun. We had a black party, man. It was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun.
I mean, that's something I also want to mention was at the Biltmore the other night, you had done this kind of informal gathering of local business people.
Yes.
And I thought that was such a cool thing, like taking the initiative to put all the people in the room that you think need to be in the room, right?
Yes. Yeah, for sure, man. It's true. It is one of those things that I kind of I see, and again, I don't want to be somebody who's just moaning and not trying to come up with some solutions. So I try to come up with some solutions occasionally, and there's a lot of people moving into downtown. There are a lot of businesses open up. There are a lot of people investing, and if nobody else whose job it is to get these people together and try and build something with them, and around them and help them out, I was like, what? Let's just invite and get to know each other. So basically, it was like a block party, but inside.
Yeah.
So we did a block party inside, invited people I know. Didn't invite everybody downtown because I don't know everybody downtown. So invited as many people as I know. Lots and lots of people showed up. We've done it twice. 35 the first time, 45 last time. We call it potluck, where people can bring some food and stuff like that. Like if you're a business and you make stuff, you can bring that, but a lot of people bringing no deviled eggs or potato salad, any of that sort of stuff, or snacks and cookies. Yeah. But what was really cool about this one in particular, and I'll see where we go from it, is people like Austin over at the Durham Arts, right? There's a couple of collective Muse, the Market at the End of the World, and also Ruckus. A lot of young people who are doing stuff downtown. A lot of that is focused around the Black Heart Collective, and a little bit around Cork and Bean, and some around Brew Wizards, Yeah. So all of those sorts of places and those kids came out, and they don't know each other, but they're kids who make stuff.
Yeah.
I always used to say it's like you can make something, you can make a difference, you can make something happen. All of us are makers, and those kids, watching them be introduced to each other and getting to know each other. And Drago, who was there, came into this stuff. I got talking to him into the shop. He sells comics and books online, but is looking to open up a spot. So rent a shelf over at Aaron's place at Black Heart. But he ended up going over to Austin's place, the art center. Now, are people coming out because they just happen to have something to promote that time, or are they actually going to make an effort to build something together? I don't know if there's that habit just there just yet. I sense that there might be, but I think that this is the part of the optimism that I have around the downtown is that, like you're 100%, just all the bureaucrats in suits out of the way, right? Let these kids in, let them operate. They're good kids, they're trustworthy. When they build things like what they did over at Bond Street in the parking lot during whatever it was that they did. They had a pop-up with some music and some...
They did something.
Was that what it was? Yeah, but there was something that they had done separate and Equal, I think, were playing. Anyway, it was kind of like a pop-up, and they were able to do it in their parking lot. And that sort of stuff is cool, man. So, we got the young kids, I can't remember their names, who were going to do the aftermarket. You'll see how that goes on Victoria Street. That's young kids coming in.
To that this summer.
Well, it's just something, isn't it?
Well, it's like you see a space like that in downtown, and it just feels like why is there nothing here, right?
But that's the question, Stephen.
Right.
Why is there nothing? Why is there nothing when we have several different departments whose job it is to fill these spaces? Who are event planners, who are economic developers, right? There's a culture accounts department. Yeah. There's event people all over the space. Why are you waiting for a bunch of kids to come in and do the work for you? Yeah. And then fucking charge them. Huh?
I know.
What is that? Why am I paying 2 or 3 different departments to do the same thing? Why do we have multiple departments doing promotion and talking about things? We've got how many fucking channels you're supposed to follow, for information about Oshawa?
Right.
And you don't get all of it on any of them. There should
No.
be just one. There should be just one person in charge of communications, and then we just filter it in, and then everybody knows. Instead of coming to McGuirk in Kops to find out what's going on, because that's what happens.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, stop signing up like for all the reels. If you're on Facebook and you're telling everybody how great the downtown is, okay, and somebody else is down there on Facebook saying how shitty it is. I'm talking about councillors and people involved in it, and then you got downtown. You've got so many freaking channels. It's like just one, an email list that we can all sign up for. And don't give me that freaking bullshit that there is one, because I've signed up for it, and all I get is just corporate speak.
Yep.
Because they can't promote everything that's going on, because some of the stuff doesn't fit with what they are allowed to talk about, So they can't be like encouraging one individual business over another individual business. So all they ever talk about is kind of like city events. Okay, great. No worries. I get that. Well, then why don't you just hire somebody who just writes about city events, but actually create more events. Create more events in the downtown. Create more events with the businesses. Do stuff with me, where it's like, why am I going and putting stuff out on the street, right? Why are the people who's charged with doing events in this town not doing the same thing?
Right.
Why are some kids coming in and going on Victoria Street, which is great. We should encourage their creativity. But the idea is, where are the people with the imagination at that level in those departments who are supposed to be fucking making things happen in this town? Because they're not around, Stephen. Anyway, you go ahead now.
No, I mean, well, the one thing that's been bugging me lately, and I've mentioned it on the show a couple of times, is this new stage we opened at Simcoe and Bond.
Yep.
And it's like a lower quality version of the outdoor stage that we already have in downtown Oshawa, right, at Memorial Park, which that's a lovely stage. Mm-hmm. It's just, for whatever the reason is, we can't seem to clean up the area around there.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah.
And it's just so frustrating to see. You have, the priorities are so close to being in the right place with these people, and then they just miss it just barely. And as far as I'm aware, they haven't planned a single event on this new stage.
Not that I know of either. And it is kind of one of those things which is really interesting, because again, it's like their heart's in the right place. So they created a gathering spot. They with some art and some planters, for the people who are downtown. There's nobody downtown to gather.
Right.
Who's gathering? So why are you creating these things for people to gather in when you haven't asked the people who are actually down here who want something to gather in? What did we ask for? Right? Yeah. What did we ask for? So we got a stage. Okay, great. We'll build a stage over there. We'll put a park over there. Good. It's good use. It's fine. It'll look nice. Like I said, the city does good design work. It'll look good when it's finished, and all those plants that are there are all blooming and stuff like that. But again, it's one of those things. Who's going to use it? Because two things are going to happen.
Yep.
It's going to be amazing in the summer.
Okay.
There's nobody downtown in the summer. Nobody comes downtown, Oshawa, in the summer.
Yeah, ain't that a problem?
Yeah. So what you're going to have, who's going to gather there? Well, the other day when I was driving by, there was a couple of folks that were sitting in there already, waiting for the bus. So it becomes a...
It's a nice bus stop.
It's a good bus stop, so that's fine. But it's not populated, right? Okay, so who's going to gather in there? Okay, well, there's some people who are sort of like unhoused and tired and wandering around the streets all day long and looking for stuff. Because they've got like shelters that I guess you can't stay in during the day. You've got to be kicked out, so they've got to find somewhere to go sit. So they go sit there. That's perfectly fine. They're allowed to gather, But there's not enough people here to make that functional just yet. So again, you're building capacity, and again, it looks like I'm kind of like saying one thing and kind of figuring out another thing along the way. Right, they are building capacity for the 10,000 people who are going to show up here at one point.
Yep.
Okay, it's perfectly fine, right? But in the meantime, what are we going to do? We just got an empty thing there that there's not enough people down here to gather. But the city could say, we're building this, and by the way, like you say, we're going to populate it with these events all the time.
Right.
All the time, right? So that there's always something there. And that's what I'm saying. The city has to take ownership of building some of these gatherings and just gathering with the capacity that we already have and filling it in, instead of just saying, here's a big open space for you to gather in, and then fucking off. And it's like, there's not enough of us.
Oh, and by the way, you need our permission to gather here.
And you'll need our permission to gather here. That's right. And we're going to charge you for parking, and we're all going to go down to the lake and get charged for parking. It's I don't want it to be a bitch session, because I'm beyond it. I really am. Things will change. Things are changing. It's just very, very slow. And I think that park could be used, but I agree with you, is that they build these things There's a lovely gallery with a lovely back door, like backstage area. I don't see or hear too much that's being built in that. There's all sorts of things that have been. Yeah, Broadband Park is another thing, which is a fabulous idea down the South End, but I'm not really seeing what's going on there.
Exactly.
So what are we at when we are building these parks? And I agree with you. You're building these parks to people to gather in, but the people whose job it is to gather people don't do anything.
It would seem.
So then they just sit empty. And that's, like you said, that's the disconnect, where you're like, you're almost there.
Right.
You're almost there.
It's like all you need to do is talk to like me or someone like Ivy and Connor or like the people that are in the community, and we can make things happen in that space.
That's
right?
100%.
And it's just frustrating that, hey, and maybe these things are happening and I'm not in the loop, but like it seemed like as that was being built, there was no information being released to the community that's going to be using it.
No, and here's the other thing is, when are there people downtown? People come downtown. There's universities here, so people are down here September through to April, right? There's the Generals and the Firewalls, which is a great addition.
Yeah.
Bring lots of people. When do they play? September to April. That's their schedule, unless they manage to make, some playoffs, and they might go a little bit further, but that hasn't happened. You've built a park where the most people downtown are down in the winter, and you don't clear it of the snow, and it's iced over.
Yep.
Because you didn't clear it, and it's like we're walking by, and it's like you can't even use that park in the winter. So now you've just removed 6 months of usage from that park, and then you're saying this is when you can all gather at a time in the 6 months when there's nobody down here to gather.
Right.
So to answer your question, this is what I'm trying to do with my potlucks, which are private events. They're not open to the public, because it is to bring people downtown to try and figure out these gatherings in a way that fits the crowd at the time. And at some point, maybe it might be, oh, you know what, there's enough of us doing some stuff. Why don't we move this outside? Maybe we can build something and say, and don't be getting all excited over there, event staff manager, we can say, you know what, just like those kids want to do at Victoria, we'd be like, what about we just set up one of these meetups over in that park?
Right.
So yeah, the community can take ownership of the park, but again, the community can't take ownership of the park. And none of this is built in when you're building the park in the first place. I agree with you on that 100%. They're almost there. You're almost there, but they never follow through.
Right. All right, let's close off on a positive note here, I think.
What do you mean closing off? We just got started. What have we done? We've got 30 minutes. You said we got 30 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're at 42 minutes.
Oh, wow, okay. Yeah. Well,
you wanted for 30 minutes. You can keep going as long as you
need to do more talking then, Stephen.
I mean, what's your favorite thing about Oshawa? All things considered. Positive note. Positive note.
I feel very at home in Oshawa. That's what I like about it. I'm not from here. I didn't go to school here. I wasn't born here. I wasn't raised here. Any of that sort of stuff. I came from Dublin straight to Oshawa, into the South End. Got myself a job. Got myself a job at the newspaper, and part of that was putting the newspaper together and reading it. And I used to read newspapers every single day. Went on working at the Toronto Star, and I was in and out of One Yonge Street for a good many years, and stuff. And I have a shop here. Well, it's not my shop, but there's a shop here, and I feel ownership of it, even though it's not my shop. In the same way I say it's my city, even though it's not. It's not my city. I would say that the conversation that I'm having with myself, if I have to be honest, is I don't know where this store is going to move to. I like literally no idea. There's places it could move to. Might be beneficial for the boss and his family making money. That's perfectly fine. But I think if it moved to Whitby, I think I could probably go with it. If it moved to Bowmanville, I think it'd probably go and work in Bowmanville. If it moved to Ajax and Pickering, I don't think I could. Only because of the commute. But also, right, it is like, it's kind of one of those things where, because this is kind of like I feel at home here. I don't think I'd ever feel as comfortable as I do in Oshawa, even downtown Oshawa, if I was in like downtown Whitby. It's just a slight different curve
There's a
of
thing
culture.
to it, yeah.
It's just different. Same with Bowmanville. Great places, lovely people. I know lots of people in both places. Downtown Whitby's doing a great job. Loads of things happening downtown Whitby, Town Brewery and Vintage 905 and the Music Fest and all sorts of stuff. It's great. You know, they're investing in our young people a lot better than they are doing here. But like Oshawa is a city, you know, and then, again, it has city problems. It doesn't have city solutions, which is the problem that we have, you know, but it just has small town solutions when it's a city, and it's it's dirty and it's gritty and it's kind of uncomfortable and it's you know off-putting and annoying and all those sorts of things. But at the same time, there's just like really great, fabulous sort of people here, and I genuinely have a fondness for this city, you know, and it's a bit of an odd thing for sure. People not necessarily known for Canadians not necessarily known for being like fond of places. It's a big country. You can move. You can find new places. I moved obviously from one place to another. Didn't like Dublin at all when I was growing up there, but as a lot of young people don't like the places they grew up in. So you move. That's fine, you know. But it's that for the 40 years that I've been here, in this, and through all of it, buying a house, marrying, having kids, going to taking them to school, whatever, growing up, and all that sort of stuff, and going out every day to work somewhere else, and then coming back, and it's just, I don't know, man. I just, you know, the whole place got just a hold on me that, like, I would find it very difficult to leave, you know, Oshawa. Like, I really would find it, like, really. I hope my wife isn't listening because she wants us to move to Port Hope.
Port Hope.
She wants us to move to Port Hope. But it's like, I would, like, obviously you would do it. But I would find it very difficult. I think they call it a trauma bond. I think that's what it is. You have like a trauma bond.
Oh, Stockholm syndrome?
Yeah, shit like that. You know what I mean? Like, there's all sorts of stuff that goes on with it. But what do I like about it? I don't know. Like, oh, come and see. You should do this. No, man, I can't at all. You know, I can't. I've nothing that I could say. It's got everything everybody needs, and it doesn't have anything that you need. You know, like, it's just a city. But for me, what do I like about it? I just kind of like it. I just kind of like that it is what it is. All of it, like everything. I remember reading a line when I was a kid by John Paul Sartre, and he was talking about when you love somebody, you have to love all of them, and like the liver and the spleen and like the whole lot of it. You know, you can't pick and choose the whole lot of it. And I think what Oshawa is that, like, yeah, I love it. You know, I love it. I love when I love, like, coming up Simcoe Street, and we all know the issues and problems and stuff like that, but it's like, I don't know, it's just like something fucking, it's just familiar, man. You know, it's just familiar. You know, and you're driving up into the north, and like the north end's a completely different thing to me altogether. You know, I get as far as like, you know, I don't know, like Durham College, and then I'm lost. You know, but there's something genuine. There's something just genuine about Oshawa and Oshawa people. You know, like, there's something just really sort of genuine. And I will say too, that there's a dark sort of heart to it, and there's a darkness to it. And like a lot of places that work hard, you know, we party hard, and we understand that life is hard, and you really have to work hard at it. And there's but people, there's an outside fondness for this place too. You know? Yeah. There's an outside fondness.
Yeah, you see it when bands come from out of town and pass through here, right?
Yeah.
And it's usually, they end up at the Atria, usually, those kinds of bands, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. But there's other bands that have come through, like, years ago. And, you know, and I interview some bands over the years, and when they come back through, and they're like, there's no money in this town. I go, but holy shit, we have such a good time.
Yeah.
You know? So I think there's you know, it really is just, like, and I'm nothing to do with any other place, whatever, but I just really feel as that, like, Oshawa, you know, it is what it is, man, and I think that's something to celebrate and to admire, that there's something authentic about it, like, really authentic about it, and there's something about that in Dublin too, and I think the two things just marry themselves inside of me, and I have a real fondness for this city. Yeah.
All right. I think we're going to close it there.
That's okay. Yeah, that's good, man.
Thank you for doing this, Will.
Yeah, no worries at all.